This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook and other social media. Because it's time for the African American Scene, presented by Howard Insurance every Wednesday evening at this time and hosted by Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. I have to tell you, no open mic night tonight. I have a guest. But first, let me preface my introduction of my guest with some information that I think is fairly important, and my guest can probably be of assistance to you. Recently, the homeowner market is in real turmoil, and the premiums have gone through the roof, and the underwriting criteria has become more and more stringent. And one of the things that I want you to be aware of is if you have a house that was built in the 50s or the 60s, and you've had Mr. Fix-It Jackleg in your neighborhood fixing your house, you're not creating any permits. So when the insurance company does their investigation and they pull your property appraisal report, it's going to show you got a house that's built in 1950 and there's been no permits for roofing, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, or nothing. So guess what their position is? Their position is you haven't done anything. Now, the reality is we all know, especially those of us that have grown up in the city. I grew up in Philadelphia, and then there's the people that have grown up in Fort Pierce, and one of the ladies I happen to have had as a customer for the last 10 years, I know the house has been taken care of, but she's been getting the house taken care of by some guys in the neighborhood that have just, whenever something went wrong, right?
Yeah. Like,
they just come over and they fix
money.
it. Right, okay? So, and I talked to my underwriter and I said, now come on. This house is 1950. I know the lady. She's been a client of mine for 10 years. I've seen the house. He said, Mr. Howard, if it ain't on the paper, it didn't happen. He said, but I know what you're saying, and I know it's damn near impossible for her to be living there for over 50 years and never have done any work on the house. But doesn't matter. So I share that story with you because what you're going to learn from these guys tonight, there are some things that they can do to help you. And they'll use contractors that will do permits. And so you'll be able to avoid that. And then they'll try to make sure you get a fair price. I know people are concerned what it's going to cost. And that's always an issue. And most people are not in a position to be able to negotiate to get a fair price. But these guys may be able to help you. And with me tonight, I have Roy. I can't remember your last name.
DeGannis.
Roy Geddes, who is the loan officer for SELF, Solar Energy and Loan Fund, and I've had them on here before. And I also have Mr. Henry Duhart, who some of you will know. He ran a really good race for county commissioner, and he's now in public relations with SELF. So, gentlemen, please say good evening to my audience.
Good evening, audience.
Good evening, guys.
So, first, let's talk about how SELF was created and when it was created. Go.
I think I'll take that question. My name is Roy DeGannis. I'm the residential loan officer and program manager for the East Coast. I've actually been with the program now for going on it's over 4 years. I started actually in 2016. So I'm going into my 5th year, and the organization was started in 2009 based on a seed grant by the Department of Energy I believe it was part of the recovery, America recovery from the the recession, and they wanted to help homeowners gain access to necessary improvements, things that they can keep their homes being sturdy. So in 2009, the grant was started, and got started at that point, 2009.
Very good. And Mr. Duhart, you are a community relations guy.
Yes, sir.
So what are you doing with Self?
Well, I was able to meet Doug and Duan during my election cycle, where we exchanged a lot of ideas. I find me and Doug have like-minded ambitions and things of that nature. So I got to talk with them, and then they loved my networking ability and ability to use social media and certain networking trends to get people's attention. Not just making posts, but turning a post into a donation when I was running, or turning a post into a client in need of help, which is not easy to do. So that's kind of what I'm here for, my network, and turning my network into something that is useful for Self, because I'm all about helping the community, and Self Empowerment Fund is an initiative that I can back and support. We wanted to help minorities here in the Treasure Coast. And also, I'm a part of community outreach. So when there are certain events, I'm just a very go-to connected kind of guy. So whenever I know about an event, whether through a nonprofit or a grassroots organization or a church, I try my best to connect Self and those organizers to those resources, or with community leaders, such as Commissioner Curtis Johnson, the City of Fort Pierce Commissioner, and Chancellor Howell, who is also the president of the Black Chamber, Treasure Coast Black Chambers. We just had a meeting, and we're doing some partnerships with them as well. So connecting us to people, resources in the community.
And I know both of those gentlemen. So if I'm a homeowner and I'm in need of some work, where do I start?
The best place to start is, if you kind of know what you need to have done. We technically get most of our clients through the contractors. So obviously you're probably working with a contractor or some type of program. We've actually partnered up with local municipalities like Habitat for Humanity, the local SHIP programs, St. Lucie grant programs, and actually statewide we've done a lot when it comes to that area. So typically you're going to actually either be referred to us by one of these entities and find out about our financing. At that point, we do a consultation, usually over the phone. Most of our applications are done online on our website. But again, we have physical support that we're there to help our clients through the whole process, from saying hi to getting the application completed, things that they're going to need, what contractors are going to work with. We usually recommend, if they don't come to us through a contractor, that they look for three quotes based on the contractors that we have vetted, approved through a vetting process, where we check their license, their insurance, make sure they have proper documentation to work legally in the state of Florida, and then we also check their track record to make sure that they are honest contractors, and that they don't have a lot of things against them that can cause a situation with a client. And then we approve that contractor, and then at that point we're able to work them through that process. And at the end, we actually pay the contractor, so that way the client doesn't have to go through the process of fighting back and forth with the contractor about the work being done, because we don't pay until all the work is done and the inspections are passed.
Very good. Very good. And one of the things that I noticed, and is good for, this would be especially good for some young couples, there's no minimum credit score required. You want to talk about that a little bit, Henry?
Absolutely, yeah.
You want to?
Sure. Well, that's the benefit and the great thing about Self and the Empowerment Fund. A lot of times, especially in minority communities, people will choose or be forced to keep things like leaking ceilings, or not having a ramp, or not having a proper AC unit, because of the fact that we cannot, a lot of times, especially in minority communities, cannot get approved through the regular bank system. The good thing about Self, that it doesn't look at credit scores, it looks at payability, ability to pay. And that's just a better process for a lot of homeowners here in this community. And that's, again, another reason why I support something like this, because it's going to benefit those who a lot of times get left out in the process that already does exist.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like the older school. It's like the older school of how financing used to be, right?
Yeah.
You know, it was almost like a handshake, but we obviously a friendship, right? We build a friendship with that client, and like you said, we're assessing their ability to pay and their recent payment history, and not looking at their credit score. So we're able to say, hey, they have the ability to pay because they make enough money, and they have a good payment history. So we should help them out, and so that's how it works.
That is absolutely wonderful, and you know, because if you think about our system really runs backwards when you think about it. If you have 800 credit score, you get the cheapest loan available, and you don't have any trouble getting money. If you're struggling, then you can't hardly get any money, even though you might have needs that far exceed the person that has the 800 credit score, which but that's our American system.
Yeah.
That's right.
And, you know, Roy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but another great thing about Self, and one of the things that I like to help break these stereotypes about organizations like this, is that the programs, a lot of times people are afraid of like losing their homes when it comes to these different loan programs. And I know that Self's programs, it goes against that. So I don't know if you want to speak a little to that, but I know that's one of the great things I liked about it. A lot of, especially senior citizens, are afraid to do it because they feel like they might lose their home.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you touched on that, because this is an important fact that you bring to our attention. You're 100% right. Our loans are unsecured. So what the difference between a secured and unsecured is secured loans is typically it's protected by the house. The house is used as collateral against the loan. So if you don't pay, then they can actually put a lien against your property. And solar and energy loans fund case, our loans are unsecured. So we actually don't put a lien against your property. It's just a regular personal installment loan like you would do normally, like with a credit card. You know, they'll give you a certain amount, and you have a monthly minimum that you'd pay every month until the loan is paid off. And so to me, it's just like you mentioned. And another thing too is we also do mobile homes, which in most cases,
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So in most cases, you know, when they do a secured loan, they put a lien against the property. But in the case of mobile homes, they really can't do that. It's hard to do that because no more they don't own the property normally. They just own the mobile home. So in our cases, we're able to take that homeowner, just make sure that they own the mobile home. They have the ability to pay. Same thing we would do with the homeowner, and we're able to provide that loan. So that's the big difference when it comes to that, and it helps a lot more people.
Wow, that's pretty cool. If you have questions and you want to talk to these two very knowledgeable gentlemen, that number is 340-1590. That's 340-1590. You know, I was looking through some of the things that you do, and there's quite an array of products that you have to offer. But, you know, with the mobile homes, I know when you talk about the mobile homes, you really talk about the manufactured homes too, correct?
Correct. Yep. Matter of fact, yeah. I mean, they're sitting there. Yeah, they're not moving around. They're
right.
Not the motor homes.
Right. Exactly.
But if they're sitting there, you know, and yeah, so they're manufactured or mobile, as long as they're stationary.
We talked about the Spanish lakes and the
Lakewood Park.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Correct. We've done a ton of home improvements in Spanish Lakes. I mean, a ton of home improvements there, and we're actually working on some now still.
Okay. Fantastic. Now, here's some of the things that I saw: solar panels, solar water heaters.
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that? Solar pool heaters and solar pool pumps.
Yes.
All of those things.
Man, those are big money savers. People don't understand how much it costs to heat your water. You know, you take a survey of what your bill costs. Obviously, we know our biggest bill is our air conditioning because, you know, it's Florida.
Right, exactly.
So we got to stay cool, right? And so our ACs are always on. So that's the big portion of our bill. But then the second biggest portion of our bill is hot water. People think it's your TV. I remember when I was a kid, they used to always say, take the light off or cut the TV off when leave the room. But that's a real small, you always want to conserve, but that's a really small part of your bill. The hot water is what's a big killer. So you wash clothes, you have dishwashers and things like that. So solar hot water heater is huge. You get incentives from the federal government, right, to put these things on your house, and it helps you eliminate that portion of your bill for life, as long as you own the product. So, I mean, those are huge, and we've seen people get solar hot water heaters put on their homes, and also high-efficient ACs, because we do most of our products are high-efficiency ACs, but let's talk about the hot water heaters. We've seen people be able to put hot water heaters on their home, and just the savings from their hot water, from their electric bill, actually made the payments for the hot water heater. So they really didn't change their budget that much at all, and they were able to make an upgrade that increased their home value as well as made their hot water more accessible and cheaper.
I've heard that, and I have a gas tankless water heater, and my goodness, it cut my bill quite a bit. I think Clif did the same thing.
I've changed houses since then.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
But I loved that tankless water heater.
Yeah, tankless water heater. That'll save you some money. And then here's the other one that really I found interesting. Window film and solar screens.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep,
Energy efficiency is the key word about what we're trying to do. And the biggest thing, especially within the communities that the Empowerment Fund is trying to target, a lot of times the where their home is what's causing their high bills, whether it's insulation, whether it's windows, whatever it is, or you got 3 or 4 window ACs instead of having a AC unit that's central for the house. There's so many places within these areas like Gifford, Stewart, Fort Pierce that we're trying to target who need this help, and that's why I think it's so great what we're doing, because people understand how much you can save when you get certain small things sometimes fixed in your house or up to par. Like even just me understanding how much insulation can cause your bill to be one way or another.
Absolutely.
But you're not taught this too, just growing up, just the importance of house improvement, and a lot of times, again, people because they can't get approved through the regular system. They go just like, I'm not gonna get it fixed at all, and you're still ending up the money you could use to pay for these efficient things. You end up paying it anyways by not getting things fixed. But,
correct.
So that's why I'm glad about what they're doing here, pushing this out here, because so many people in the communities, around here need this kind of help.
And kind of expand on that, like what Henry is talking about, is what's great about Self is that not only do they not get the things, some of them don't get the things fixed, or some people do get them fixed, but they get them fixed at such high interest rates because their score is so low. If they are able to get approved, it's called predatory. We call it predatory lending. We can't say bad things, but it's like, okay, we're the only one that will approve you, so we're gonna charge you 25%, 30%. You do the math. That means they paid for that product 2 or 3 times, right? If you do the math for the interest rates, that product might have been $8,000, but they wind up paying $16,000 or $17,000.
Yeah.
Right, in interest rates. So, Self again is able to allow them to get this work done, even if their credit isn't great, and still give them an interest rate that will knock their socks off and give them a position to where they can afford that monthly payment and not pay for that product twice, but pay once and pay a fair price, just like everybody else.
And Steve, we got Steve on line 1. Yes, Steve.
How you doing, Rudy?
Good, my friend.
I'm all, I was into selling solar before it was popular. And then, of course, the electric companies made it unpopular. Now it's popular again. But my question is, how old a roof can you put a solar unit on today? Because the ones we used to use were the coffin style. And today they're using more spread out triangle, smaller cell type style. And I'm just wondering, how young does your roof have to be? 10 years old to take that kind of weight under storm, under stress? Is there any standard for it?
No, that's a great question. Times have changed. Solar panels have changed as far as the materials and how they're made and the weight and how they're
They're
installed.
way bad.
So yeah, there's been, they micro now. They're very small, and like I said, they have brackets that allow them to not actually mount on the roof that much, to put that much weight on the roof. The biggest thing you want to know is that when you're putting solar on your roof, you pretty much want it to stay there. You don't want to ever have to really move it, right? So,
That's right.
because it's a cost. So really, you want to make sure that the roof is as new as possible. But typically, insurance companies will go after you with your roofs. That's a big thing going on right now, so be careful with that. When you get around 18 years, 19 years of roof life, they start not wanting to insure you because of that, and make you replace your roof. So I usually, recommend the clients, if you haven't had your roof replaced within, I say 10 years, was a fair shot. But if you're in 15 or above on your roof, you might want to have it really looked at before you decide to put solar on it.
I think that's very wise. And most of my companies now, Roy, is 15 years. If that roof is 15 years or older,
Yep.
they want to see some work has been done on that roof, or they don't want to insure it.
Exactly.
What about a home inspection?
You know what?
What if you had a home inspection?
You missed the beginning of the show. I was working with somebody, and I recently was able to find something for them today. Their house was built in the 1950s, Steve. They had
Yeah, we seen that.
but they had been getting all the repairs done by people in the neighborhood. You know how that is. So
yeah. My friend did that to a back porch, sold the house. They came and said you can't sell the house because the back porch is easy.
There you go. Yes. So you know where I'm coming from. So the insurance company says there's been no work on the house. Well, now we all know that's ridiculous. That the house is over 50 years old. There had to be some work on the house, or the house would have fell down. But as far as the insurance,
here's another little trick. Mine was insured value-wise for almost $400,000, and then all of a sudden it dropped down to like $270,000. So I called him and said, "How did that happen?" We redid this thing the other day. Now it says it's up to $360,000. So
yeah.
What have they got, a dartboard down there?
No. But you have to. I've had to fight for my clients about changing of those dwelling limits, because sometimes they just will raise them up, and that means a little more premium dollars. So not
I
often.
made improvements. I put a garage in the back legally.
Yeah.
I put a lanai on legally.
Yeah.
Things like that, a well legally.
Yeah.
So it's got cameras, things like that. But it still shouldn't, drop $100,000 and go back up $100,000.
Yeah.
But where I live in Torino, everything out here is selling for way over $300,000.
Yeah, it is. Yes, out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, sir. Always.
Here,
Yeah, always.
See you later.
Always a pleasure.
Take care.
Okay. That's one of my regular callers. He always calls in. Always gives you very good comments about whatever you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And I see here, which is a big thing here, sewer and water. Oh
Man,
that's huge here in Fort Pierce.
everywhere.
Yeah. All of Treasure Coast,
Everywhere.
St. County. Yeah.
Everywhere. Absolutely. Florida.
Yeah.
Florida thing.
Yeah. Oh man. And in Port St. Lucie, I don't know where I'm losing track of what's going on up here, but in Port St. Lucie, if you're not supposed to fix your septic tank anymore, if your septic tank breaks, you're supposed to go to city water.
Mm-hmm. In Martin County as well. That's what they do.
Same thing?
Well. Absolutely. They're requiring them to do that. Absolutely. They're not even waiting until they break.
Yeah. It's like sewage and water
It's an environmental issue.
Gentrification in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, because you can't a lot of times, especially like when I was, when you're talking about North County, a lot of people they're going through that right now. There's certain people who have city, and there's a lot of people, especially in North County, who still have their septic tanks. They still have their regular ways, and a lot of people don't want to change over. I think Port St. Lucie is growing so fast that I guess you can make rules like that where, well, if it does break, you're coming on here. But a lot of people in North County still have that power to kind of keep their private water. But it's just, it's just one of those things where people have options, I guess. Whether you like your sewer or your city water.
And more or less, they're taking it more as a safety health issue, because obviously when the septic tanks break, you cause a lot of sewage and stuff to go into the ground and cause a lot of safety issues. So a lot of them are using that as the mechanism to cause the change, to go into city water.
Yeah, and that can be pretty expensive.
Yes, those can run you anywhere $7,000 to $8,000.
Yes, exactly.
To get connected.
Yeah.
I have story after story about with that, but what we do is we're able to provide that loan, which I don't know companies that do those type of loans. They're very, very rare.
Yes.
And so we got into that field because one thing about Self is we're a home improvement. We're a nonprofit lending institution, and we have a mission. And our mission is to provide these opportunities for underserved communities to gain access to these funds to do these improvements. Because people that have a lot of money, they could just pay cash. Right. So we have to be able to affect not just one area, but basically all areas of the home. And so we started out with solar, but then we realized that people needed roofs. Remember how your other caller, he said, what do we do with a roof? Okay. Now we realize, okay, maybe they need to put a roof on first. So roof started being one of our things. And air conditions, we realized that people didn't have ACs, and maybe that could lower their bill. With high efficiency ACs, people have lowered their electricity bill 23%.
Absolutely.
Overall, so we realized we need to start doing air conditions. And so now sewer to septic is now an issue because of the health. And we're like, that's something that we need to do. We need to be able to finance sewer and septic so these homeowners can make their homes more, clean, more energy efficient and green and everything that comes with it. So that's one of the areas we've been having a lot of increase in. So we're excited about that.
We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be right back. Again, that number is 340-1590. That's 340-1590.
Serving the entire Treasure Coast, Howard Insurance & Associates in Port St. Lucie offers a wide variety of insurance products, along with the very best customer service. Whether you're shopping for the best homeowners coverage at the most affordable value, contact Rudy Howard's team at Howard Insurance & Associates.
I just want to make sure I can
if
hear
you need
You're
coverage for your
good.
vehicle, call Howard Insurance & Associates, 343-9878. That's 343-9878. Maybe you're planning to add a boat, motorcycle, or RV. Call Howard Insurance & Associates for your free quote at 343-9878 and get the coverage you need at a cost that will fit your budget. For home or business, auto or recreational vehicle, choose Howard Insurance & Associates, 600 Southwest Darwin Boulevard, Suite 206, Port St. Lucie. And for your free rate quote, call them at 343-9878, 343-9878.
Alrighty, I'm breaking away from you, Simon. WPTV's First Alert Weather on WPSL is brought to you by Seacoast Air Conditioning. Family owned and operated on the Treasure Coast since 1982. Online at seacoastair.com. Now with a look at our forecast, here's meteorologist Katia Hall.
Happy Wednesday, sunshine. Thursday through the weekend, a quiet weather pattern in store. Highs in the mid to upper 80s, mainly dry conditions with low rain chances. Early next week, a cool front moves in, upping our rain chances to 20%, highs staying in the low to mid-80s. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist Katia Hall for WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
At Seacoast Air Conditioning, they believe in 3 basic fundamentals. Answer the phone, show up on time, and fix the problem right the first time. Seacoast Air, family owned and operated since 1982, waiting to answer your call 24/7.
Comfort crisis, don't roast, call Seacoast.
The state and nationally ranked IRSC Pioneers hit the road Wednesday at Florida Southwestern State at 7:30. The Pioneers return home Monday the 29th for the last game of the regular season versus Miami-Dade on WPSL. IRSC and Gator Sports 2021 are brought to you by the Quit Dog Foundation of Martin County, Las Brisas Mexican Restaurant in Fort Pierce, Indian River State College Athletics, Nice Air, the St. Lucie Draft House, Hoskins Turco Lloyd & Lloyd, Seacoast Air Conditioning, Stimmels of Stewart, and Blue Cross Blue Shield.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
You are listening to the African American Scene with Rudy Howard and his guest tonight. And of course, the African American Scene is presented every Wednesday night on WPSL by Howard Insurance of Port St. Lucie. By the way, I guess he decided it's okay for him to take a call or two tonight. If you want to ask any questions of the gentlemen that are on the show with him tonight, 340-1590 is the number to call should you decide you want to find out something about what we're talking about here tonight. That's 340-1590. And the time right now, we're sneaking up on 6:37 at Digital 1590 WPSL. And now, back to the African American Scene with Rudy Howard and his guest for tonight.
You know, Steve brought up a very interesting point about him being into solar way before people of today. I wonder how many people out there know that President Carter had installed solar panels on the White House.
Yep, in 1970 something.
And Reagan took them down.
Did he?
Yes.
Wow. What do you think? They were ugly?
I guess his gas buddies were
the Reagan administration. I have no say so. I don't want to say anything
White
about
House
that.
look ugly.
Right. You look that up. Roy knew that.
I knew that, absolutely. I was I'm a solar, solar nut. So I researched solar, and I'm like, oh wow, they have solar. They got solar panels on the White House now.
They do.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Obama put some up there.
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Carter put them on all those years ago. Yeah. So think about how ahead of his time he was.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is funny though.
Yeah, but listen, I talk to people. Things are changing, and everybody is screaming bloody murder because they stopped the oil pipeline. And one of my conservative friends asked me about that, and I said, there's two issues in my mind. Number one, you're going through sacred burial ground that belonged to the Indians, and doggone it, haven't we messed over them enough? And if they ask you not to dig on their sacred burial grounds, I would think you would have to honor that. And then the second thing is, and I'm going to tell you this, I don't know if you've heard about this before. I am a strongly suspect that in 5 years, the vast majority of new cars are going to be electric or hybrid.
Or Tesla. If you notice, a lot of the Wawas and different gas, the only reason why electric cars haven't fully taken over is the accessibility when you travel as a family or as an individual to get to charge up. Right now, you can go anywhere in the country, and there's a gas station somewhere nearby. And a lot of, especially Wawas and like Cumberland Farms, they're starting to do contracts to have stations, even though they look empty now. But a lot of companies, even like Dodge, all of them, they have plans to stop selling the cars after a certain amount of years and fully go over to electric within the next 20, 30 years. So probably by the time I'm an old man, gas cars will be a delicacy, hopefully.
I think so.
By the time I'm like maybe my 50s or so.
I'll be long gone by then.
No, you won't.
When he's 50, I'll be long gone. But the fact of the matter is, yes, I agree. I do think that we're going to see a change. Right in my neighborhood, it's funny. we've got 4 houses with metal roofs right in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
We all put these metal roofs on,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
metal roofs. I know you guys help with that too.
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, right now it's probably easier to get a metal roof than it is to get a shingle roof. We've got to realize the price of wood has gone up, substantially. Obviously, with coronavirus and a lot of places getting shut down and different different restrictions and rules and everything when it comes to social distancing. That a lot of these products is the production has gone down, but the demand hasn't. Right, so supply and demand means that the prices increase. And so that's what you're seeing around right now in the market when it comes to home improvement, especially wood. It's really wood, wood and shingles and stuff like that. So, that's metal is right now is a great thing, a great way to go.
Yeah, we invested in it a couple years ago, and we have 3 of our neighbors have solar, and we've been kind of messing around with the idea about doing it. And in fact, I even called Doug for some advice. Then I think I called you too.
Yeah, I think we spoke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
I'm like, we're kind of messing around with that idea of putting the solar up there, But I think we're moving, which Henry talked about.
I think you got FPUA, right? Is that
No, we
you
got
FPL?
Florida. Yeah, we got Florida Power and Light.
Okay, good. FPL is good.
FPUA is, boy, that's the Fort Pierce.
Yeah, that's the Fort Pierce Utility
Utilities,
Company.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Boy, I've heard some bad stories about FPUA. Boy.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about them too much. But
Yeah.
I mean, they're the thing is they've definitely come along, but as far as for solar, it's been a tough thing with them because FPL, which is your company, their prices are, first of all, they're lower. So
Yes.
the prices are lower. So for you, going solar may be something you might want to think about because if you're already paying a low price, you might want to consider, is it worth, you paying just a little bit less to go through whatever it takes to go through to get solar, right? But it still obviously makes sense if you do a mathematical analogy over, the incentives and everything like that. But with FPUA and some others, I'm sure there's other companies like this around the country, is they charge a lot more for their electricity. And then, so it makes sense, but then their incentives they don't incentivize it. So with FPL, they would basically provide a dollar for dollar credit for the power that you use compared to the power that they take from you from your solar system, right?
Yeah.
Because you're feeding the grid. Power can't sit still, right? It has to keep moving. So when it comes in your house, you have enough power to power your house right away. Where's the rest of that power have to go? It has to go back into the grid and goes back to your neighbors. So they charge your neighbors for that power, and they give you what's supposed to be a credit, right? Because you're using my power.
Mm-hmm.
And FPL does a dollar for dollar credit. And I'm not exactly sure FPUA. We've done the math before, but they don't do that. I think they
buy their power from FPL,
correct.
and then I guess they do what everybody else would do, mark it up just a little.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, I think FPL. If you drive down US 1, you see that they themselves believe in solar. They're buying up acres of land here in the Treasure Coast and building solar farms. No longer like you don't just see cows when you're driving around the Treasure Coast. A lot of times, growing up, you would just see in those areas, especially like Kings Highway, you just saw like cows and cattle.
Yeah.
Now you go there, you see solar farms. Here in the Treasure Coast, which is one of the great things. Me, I'm being 27. My goal is to own a home within the next, 3, 4, 5 years of my life. And solar energy is a go-to for me because people understand that upfront investment has a long-term benefit of the fact that you can basically sell your energy in a way back to the companies. That's like 6, 7 years probably down the line once you've had it. But, long-term, you save a lot of money. So.
But see, here's the other thing that FPL does too. They will allow you to buy your solar from them without you having to put the panels on your house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's probably why they got all those farms out there.
Oh, yeah. FPL's being very aggressive and very innovative.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Innovation is key, or you get left behind.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to their Juno Beach, right? Is that where their headquarters are?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they have headquarters in Juno Beach, and they have a lot of panels on the roof. Their whole parking lot is made of panels. So yeah, they've been doing that a long time.
And we got Tom on line 1. Yes, Tom.
Yes, I just heard you made a remark about FPUA buying electricity from Florida Power and Light.
Yeah, that's what my guest said.
No, that's the last resort. Their primary source is FMPA. It's the Florida Municipal Power Authority. And that's a combination of a bunch of city-owned utilities like Lake Worth Utility, Key West Utility, Kissimmee Utility, Orlando Utilities. It's a whole network of power companies that are like independents.
Wow.
And Vero Beach was one of them, but they got bought out by Florida Power and Light.
Yeah.
But the only time Florida Power and Light would buy from them is if they couldn't get enough electricity from the basically like a giant co-op.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Because my wife works for them, that's how I know.
Okay.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I've been told that, but that's definitely
we appreciate the education.
Absolutely. It's good to know. Thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, my wife works at the power plant there just north of Midway Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's right behind the post office.
All right.
I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you,
Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good, bro.
Absolutely.
We got a little information there. Yeah.
If you don't learn nothing in the day, then you don't think you're living, right?
There you go.
That's right.
That's
we
right.
we never get too old to keep learning.
And I was gonna say you did say that. I didn't say
No,
that
it was
about
not the guest that said it. It was the board engineer who.
Absolutely. Please, somebody get that board engineer.
I didn't say I was board certified. I said I was certified board. Okay.
Well, now you know. Thank you.
Here's another thing I find very interesting. Rain barrels.
Wow, this guy here, man, he does his homework.
Talk to me about the rain barrels.
Yeah, that's a great way to conserve energy. I know. Do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah.
I had it because I know that's when water conservation is a big thing now. Is being able to use the rainwater to basically reharness it and to use it to do things in the house, whether it's your grass, your plants, all that stuff like that, and it even allows you to conserve it. So basically, they put some things on your home that catches the water, stores it for you, so you're able to use it later. It's a great way, obviously, to save on water, and we finance those projects. Those are projects you don't hear a lot about, but it's something that a lot of people are into that like to conserve. And we have a water problem. I'm sure everybody knows now. Sometimes you can't use your water to sprinkle your lawn certain times in the summer, right? Because it's so dry and you want to do that. So this is a great way to put a mechanism on your home that can trap the water that from the rain, and you can basically reuse that water for whatever you want. And it's a great way to conserve, too.
Typically, how much does something like that cost?
That's a good question. It depends. I don't think they're that much. Typically, it depends on how big your home is, because they have to basically, put the stuff around the house. But those could be, a few $1,000, $4,000 or $5,000, and it's obviously depending on how big the house is, it could be more. But yes, they're not really expensive.
That is interesting, man. I saw that and I went, wow.
Yeah, it's something new.
Right. You could. I guess you really could even use that for drinking too, couldn't you?
Yeah, I'm sure you could filter it.
But you would have to filter it.
Absolutely, I'm sure you can filter this. It's for whatever you want to use it for. Most people, like I said, they like to wash their cars all the time, or do their lawn, or you washing your clothes. You're doing a lot of different things with water that you're using a lot. And the biggest thing is now is most of our counties want us to conserve it. They're asking us to conserve it.
So what does it come like in a big barrel that the water gets drained into, and then you can just like a switch on it and you flip it?
Yeah, well, you could take from the barrel, obviously, and refill it. It has to be refilled, but you could obviously take that water and do whatever you want with it and just refill it again, and just as much times as you want, and just kind of use it for whatever you want. Take it and use it for your lawn or wash your car, whatever you want to do with it.
Man, that is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk to Mrs. Howard about that.
Yeah, you like to use a lot of water. She's complaining about you using all the water.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, you know, Mrs. Howard like to save money.
Oh, okay, good.
So, yeah, and she's somewhat of a person that conserves. If I try to if I forget and throw a can in the trash can, whew,
okay.
Boy, I get it,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah,
You know what I mean, Roy?
Man, sound like we live in the same house.
Yeah. Your wife the same way.
Oh man, I'm from New York, and I'm be honest with you, we're not used to recycling anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Everything gets thrown right out the window. So I'm like, she's like, oh, you can't put that in the trash, and I'm like, why not? I'm like, they'll figure that out when it gets to the sanitation place. They can just take it out and throw it over right next door. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What part of New York were you from?
I'm born in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah, city boy.
Yeah. Well, I am sure when I tell Mrs. Howard about this. Matter of fact, if my sister's listening, which she usually listens on Wednesday night,
yeah,
she's gonna probably ask me about this rainwater too, because she's a conservationist person.
Oh, that's great. Tell her, give me a call. We'd love to explain it and help her learn more about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then one of the other things too, I want to make sure we know is that not only are we looking, to help clients and help people in these targeted communities, but we're looking to gain more local contractors. Even though we have a network of 500, we want to continue to get more local contractors. So when people are approved here within the Treasure Coast, that they're also spending that money with local contractors here, whether it's roofing or ceilings or whatever it may be. And a lot of times, again, minorities may sometimes not have all the necessary things when it comes to insurance. Like you said, like in the beginning, a lot of times people just getting work done from random people. A lot of times, instead of trying to just go over them with some bigger company, just help people get to the place they need to be a contractor that can work with organizations such as self and kind of make our dollars bounce within our communities. So it's a full circle thing with what we're trying to do here with the Empowerment Fund itself. So any contractors out there listening or knowing people who are contractors who can benefit from us, please, you can contact myself or Roy or go to solarenergyloanfund.org and get with us and jump on board to this program that not only benefits people but local businessmen and women here in the community.
Absolutely. Just so I want to reiterate on that too, it's no cost for contractors.
Free.
It's free opportunities to gain access to funds to help their clients. And it's really easy. We don't require that much, just that they keep their insurance and their license and everything up to date in our systems and treat the customers right. And so absolutely, minority contractors, that most of these banks charge, 10 to 12% of the project cost to the contractors to lend them the funds to do these projects. We charge zero. So that's huge.
That is
and
huge.
It's not and a lot of these finance companies require that you do a certain amount a year with them in order for them to keep you as a contractor. And we also don't require that either. So if you did one project or you did 100 projects, you're pretty much a self-contractor as long as you're doing the right thing.
Very good. I do know a couple people that I will mention it to that I think would be good self-contractors. And I just wanted to talk about some of the target clients, seniors and the disabled. You're looking specifically to help seniors. And in Fort Pierce especially, we have an older senior population, and a lot of them, because I insure quite a few older folks that own homes here. And it's good to know that so that they can get some help. And women and vets.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, we have programs. We basically partner up as one of our, just so you know where our funds come from, because people will say, well, we're a nonprofit lending institution, and we basically get our funds to different impact investing groups and hospitals and churches and municipalities that all come together to basically provide us with funds that we can loan out at low interest rates and not have to, where we're able to manage it and keep our doors open. So basically they're we partner up with a lot of these organizations like FAS, which is for people who are disabled. We're able to get them a low interest rate on improving their homes and making it accessible, right? You need wheelchairs, ramps, different things like that. And we're talking low interest rates like 6% for up to 7-year terms to fix up your homes for handicap accessibility. Tubs, walk-in tubs, these things as you get older, which makes it, handrails, things like that. And we also have a program for veterans and women, because a lot of veterans are coming home and they're working hard, living paycheck to paycheck, and we have a lot of women that are head of households now. They're pretty much the breadwinners in the home. So we partner with a company called Kiva, and they basically provide us low interest rate loans of 5% for up to 5 years, for these homeowners, and these are on unsecured loans. So it's really helpful to a veteran or a woman to gain access to these funds. And then we have a program called HALO, which is for disabled veterans that need to get improvements done in the home. We're able to get them lower interest rates too, of as low as 7.5%, on unsecured loans. So
Fantastic.
I mean, low as 5% is just it's great.
You're fantastic. So you have a website, I know.
Yes.
You want to give us the website, and Clif will make sure that he posts it when he puts up the YouTube.
On the website, not only can you apply as a client, but you also can apply as a contractor, all online at solarenergyloanfund.org. That's solarenergyloanfund.org. Again, a lot of information is on there about the different programs that Roy mentioned, like Kiva and HALO, and also, again, you can apply to be a contractor on there. It takes less than 5 minutes, really, to get through that contracting process, and also as a client. And you don't have to apply for all these different programs. You only apply one time, and the organization itself filters all the rest of those things.
Great. Okay, so people know that's where you go and get information. And that's actually how I developed some of my questions. I just went to the website, and I looked, and I saw some of the things they did. They even do loans for wind mitigation stuff that you might need to get done to your house to help reduce your insurance rates. Now, I can tell you for sure, as an insurance man, getting a favorable wind mitigation inspection can cut your insurance 20-30%.
I don't know. I might have a better story than that. I think it could be, up to, it could be more than that, actually. Yeah, I actually had that done in my home recently. I had the shutters put up. I had shutters and straps and nails,
Oh, yeah.
I put up in the attic because it wasn't there when I had purchased the home. My homeowner's insurance was $2,700, and it went from $2,700 to $1,200.
I believe it.
So it lowered. I think that's $1,500. That's almost more than 50%.
I didn't want to exaggerate.
No, I'm not. I swear, it shocked me when I saw that. I was like, oh my! I thought it was illegal.
Yeah.
I think they made a mistake.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I got to renew in a couple months, so we'll see.
Listen, the rates now are going out of control, so your rates will probably go up.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
So give them your name again.
I'm Henry Duhart.
And my name is Roy DeGannis.
Okay, these two wonderful gentlemen spent an hour with me, and boy, oh boy, you got chock full of information about solar energy and loan fund, and the director is my good friend Doug Coward. Folks, I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in to the African American Scene. God bless and be safe, and I will see you next Wednesday right here for the African American Scene.
The African American Scene with Rudy Howard, Wednesday evenings in the 6 o'clock hour, live. And you'll find him on Facebook, but you'll also find archives of this show on YouTube under WPSL TV. In fact, go to WPSLTV.com and you'll find all of our WPSL TV stuff. This is WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.